Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the season finale of the Rogue Wave podcast. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/Rogue Matter, facebook.com/We Are Rogue Matter, twitter.com/Rogue_Matter. We take this finely produced, flawless video, even though I just messed that Twitter handle up, and turn it into the greatest podcast known to man, available on all major podcasting apps, including Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple, and Spotify. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my cohort in crime, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
Hey.
Season finale, season 2, went on forever, man. It's like 70 episodes. It's a long season.
Yeah, long needed vacation.
We are ramping up for a season 3 premiere that's going to coincide with some major changes to the Rogue Matter website. Consume it now. All content on the website is free, but we're going to have a super big rollout for the Rogue Matter 2.0. It's going to have exclusivity. It's going to have memberships. It's going to have all kinds of bells and whistles. It's going to be pretty cool stuff, and that is coming in the coming weeks. We will give you more info on it as we have it. But like I said, season finale, we've got acclaimed YA author Mitali Perkins on. She is a delight. She's also super informative for young writers. We managed to we pre-recorded that interview with her, and it was fantastic. So you're in for a treat if you are looking to, get into the business, break into the business. It seemed like she was a super great resource for that. But then also, just what a career she's had, and her new her book was just turned into a new movie called Rickshaw Girl, which is available on all streaming platforms. So we're going to talk to her all about that. But first, James Gunn posted a little video last night. He outlined Gods and Monsters, the Phase 1 plan for the DC universe. I actually did watch it because I just happened to be scrolling on YouTube and it was out. I'm like, this seems new. New Batman, Supergirl movies, a Green Lantern TV show, and more. He shared 10 different projects, talked about the exit of Henry Cavill, right? Cavill, did I get that right, Aaron? Cavill, right? Hassan, did I get that right?
I'm staying out of the Henry debate.
The Cavill
between the two of you.
I kept saying Cavill, but she keeps saying yes. Haha! Finally, see, it only took to the last episode of the season to get it right. But he talks Henry Cavill. He talks a lot of stuff though, starting with, which I thought was a very strange. Usually we're music people, Hassan. All right, we've played in bands before. Usually, when you start a concert, you start off with like a big, you start with something well known, a real puncher, a real something there. He starts his video off with, I'm really excited, got some fantastic stuff, Creature Commandos. I'm like, what the heck is Creature Commandos? That was the first thing he mentioned on the video. It's an animated TV show, 7-episode series written by Gunn, originally a team of classic monsters assembled to fight Nazis. This is a modern take on the concept. Again, this is a very James Gunn thing to do, I guess, which is, I guess, not come out with the big guns just yet, but
no pun intended.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't even mean to do that. Sometimes my brilliance, it's just it's inborn. It doesn't even
very, very much inside. Yeah.
I can't even control it. Waller is going to be a Peacemaker spinoff, so that's an HBO Max show. She will return as a ruthless and morally ambiguous head of a government task force. It's actually written by Crystal Henry from Watchmen fame and Jeremy Carver, the creator of the Doom Patrol TV series. So Doom Patrol recently announced was ending. James Gunn didn't say it in this video, but he went on record saying that was in the works before he even got there, that Doom Patrol was going to end at season 4. So if you enjoyed the Doom Patrol experience, which I actually did, and I'm continuing to do so, you can go right into Waller and enjoy the same creativity there.
And Peacemaker.
Oh, I love Peacemaker. That's great. I don't think we're going to get a new Peacemaker, though. I don't know how James Gunn's going to have time for all this.
That's his flagship, though, right?
I know.
That's the premiere to James Gunniverse,
Yep.
So I don't know if he's going to get rid of that so quick.
Yep. No, I hear you. Superman Legacy was the next move. The next thing that was tapped. The movie featuring the Man of Steel that Gunn is writing and may also direct, although no commitments have been made. 2 previous titles are meant to be aperitifs. Aperitifs? Is that a word? Aperitifs?
Say it again. The 2 previous titles
are meant to be aperitifs. I guess stand-ins, right? Superman is the true kickoff for the duo's DCU plan.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe they'll regale me with
weird.
It's not an origin story, Safran said. It focuses on. You like that? See, I like it.
I'm not. It's not laughter. I'm doing. I'm trying to hide my face.
I love it. No, that's making me laugh now. I like that too.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not an origin story, Safran said. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks that kindness is old-fashioned. Release date has been penciled in at 2025. July 11th, in fact, 2025. Now, the quotes from Peter Safran, who is his partner, was not in the video, but this is taken from Hollywood Reporter, who is adding it for context because he really doesn't go into detail on the Superman legacy aspect as to what it's about. So, Lanterns, Greg Berlanti's long in the works Green Lanterns TV series has been scrapped, and Gunn and Safran have parted ways with the longtime DC steward. In its place will be a new take on the space cops with power rings. Our vision for this is very much in the vein of True Detective. It's terrestrial based. It will feature prominent Lantern heroes Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and is one of the most important shows they have in development. It plays a really big role in leading into the main story we're telling across film and TV. That was one thing, by the way, that James Gunn really stressed, which was
Ryan Reynolds and Will Smith.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, right? One of the things that he really harped on was that he wants continuity across everything. He wants it to be very clear. He said, if it happens in the animated series, the actor who voices that character will voice the character in live action. He wants it to be consistent.
Will be the character in live action. You mean?
What's that?
They will be the character in live action.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. He wants him to play, to play the character in live action as well too. Okay. So, definitely I don't want to say it's a unique vision. I mean, Marvel essentially does that now, but for DC, I guess it is. They finally have a head, right? They have the head of the class here, as opposed to what it was before that.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess. Yay for
whether
them.
It's the right head, we don't know, but it's at least.
I just don't think. I mean, look. There's no like I was saying before. There's really no other way they could do this. Mm-hmm. Like there's no other way they can. They could kind of ease the investors and the fans and everybody else into the transition, other than making a statement about all the stuff that they're planning to do and all the changes they're going to make and how great and wonderful and glorious and everything else is going to be. But the sad thing about it is the presentation aspect of it already, leads to parallels with Kevin Feige, like it leads to the parallels about the Marvel's phase rollouts, right? So it's still kind of in the shadow of Marvel, of the MCU, I don't know how else they can do it, because I'm sure all their investors are kind of like, we want exactly this because this is making billions of dollars every movie. So, there's no, even if he had a unique idea about how to roll things out and how to alert the media about all the changes he was about to make and all the stuff that he was about to do and things down the line, I'm pretty sure they would have reprimanded him and say, well, that's not, you could see the blueprint of it as, Kevin Feige does it every week. So, right. Just follow that. However, I'm just, speaking for myself personally.
Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with anybody else. I'm sure everybody else is super excited for it. Good for them. And I don't mean to say it's going to fail, because I don't think it's going to fail, and I don't predict things like that. I wouldn't celebrate it if it did fail. Right. I don't want it to fail. But I just don't care. It's not like I don't care, but it doesn't excite me, because it's more noise about something that's going to happen 4 or 5 years from now, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And it would have been better if they made a movie, if he made his premiere movie, if he pitched this to them, to the studio, and the studio fell in love with it. Then they made a premiere movie and put everything they had into it and packed a punch, and it came out and it did business like Top Gun or like Avatar.
Sure.
And then he says, and this is going to lead into that, and that's going to lead into this, and this is what we're going to do from here and there, and just burst on the scene, getting everybody excited about it with something that's already done, as opposed to something he's planning to do, which could be speculated to death, which is what's going to happen to it in the next 4 or 5 years. So its potential to die in crib death is astronomical. And I'm not talking about their creativity whatsoever. I don't have anything against James Gunn. I like everything that he's done. I like DC. I liked the DCEU when it existed. I love Marvel, or I like Marvel. I have an affinity for both of them at the same time. So I don't want to see either of them fail. I don't think either of them is doing the other a favor by competing with each other. But fine, that's competition makes the market. That's
oh, absolutely,
whatever.
yeah.
But I'm just tired of the constant chatter about it. Show me a really great Batman, a really great Batman movie. Show me a great Superman movie. Then I'll be there and I'll be like, yeah, obviously you can do it, and obviously I want more of what you've just done. That's what I want to be able to say.
Sure.
Whether I think that he can do it and the plans that he's got to make to do it, I'm sure James Gunn wants to do all of it, and I'm sure if left to his own devices, he would be able to do it wonderfully.
Yeah.
But we've already seen, and Warner Brothers likes to, you could bleep this, they like to shit their own bed on a regular basis. They love to step on their own cape and fall down a flight of steps right in front of everybody. Because it was mostly 90% of it was studio meddling that brought down the DCEU in the first place.
Yes.
So, and then, you got the other stuff with Ezra Miller and, all that other stuff that's going on. I just want to see a result.
Supposedly fantastic movie, though. James Gunn he says he's seen it. He thinks it's a fantastic movie. Everything he said was in the video was fantastic.
And that's great. Everything's fantastic. Everything's going to be wonderful. What is he supposed to say, though?
I know.
I just want to see the movie. I've been hearing about it for 4 years. We've been hearing about it for a long time. I enjoyed Aquaman. I'd like to see the next Aquaman movie.
Yes, Aquaman 2 is still on. He mentions that. He said Shazam fits nicely.
I know for a fact it's coming out. I know for a fact it's still happening. And then there's talk about also Jason Momoa being Lobo or something like that, which may or may not happen.
From a casting perspective, actually makes total sense, doesn't it?
It does, but it would
like Lobo.
He can't be both Aquaman and Lobo, so sure that might. All right. So anyway, that's how I feel about it.
Well, think about it. If he's both,
nah.
I'm trying to think who else was both in these superhero, movie continuities.
Nobody.
No, I feel like somebody's been. Yeah, I feel like.
Okay, like what's his name has been Captain America and Johnny Storm, but those are two different studios.
That's fair. That's a good reference.
So it's been done. Everybody's been somebody else. Ben Affleck's also been, he's been
Daredevil
and Batman and Daredevil.
Yeah.
So Superman.
But you're right; it's not in the same continuity.
Superman movies have been around long enough for people to. Look, I like to say if you ever watched the movie The Help with Amanda Waller in it, ironically.
Oh gosh, a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. There are 2 Gwen Stacy's in that movie because Emma Stone and Bryce Dallas Howard were in that movie, and they had both been Gwen Stacy before they made that movie.
Amazing.
So there's superheroes. It's indelible. It's it's left its mark. Watch the movie Spotlight. The movie Spotlight has Batman in it, the Hulk in it. It has Tony Stark's father in it. It has what's his name, Sabretooth in it, Liev Schreiber. It has Doctor Strange's girlfriend in it. It's just chock full of superhero alumni that you can't really get past a movie that doesn't have that. So of course there's going to be a lot, And I mean, I guess Jason Momoa can both be Lobo and Aquaman, but not in the same continuity. I think that would break immersion for quite a few people.
Sure.
So I mean, we'll see what they do with that. I mean, apparently, I've seen footage of Jason Momoa coming out of Warner Brothers, and he seems thrilled. So obviously, he's not getting fired.
Right, right. So
I
think
great stuff is happening for him. So we'll see.
Yeah. No, that one seemed to be okay. So that was good. Do you want to hear more? There's more, by the way.
Sure.
There's more here.
Sure there
The
is.
Authority is coming out now. The Authority is one of those comics. When we were at Wizard Magazine, the editorial staff loved that book. I never read it. Don't know why. So now that's going to be a movie.
The editorial staff loved the book, and you're like rebelling. You're like,
I don't know what it was.
Fogies like, I can guarantee it's not going to be anything I'm going to do.
I don't know. So I'm going to go back on my Comixology Unlimited if it's still a thing, because Amazon bought Comixology, and well, actually they bought it a long time ago, but they effectively dismantled it. I'm hoping I can still access all my Comixology Unlimited books, and I will get an Authority, and I will parse through that, because I think that one's very interesting. It's a team of superheroes with rather extreme methods of protecting the planet. It originated in the late 1990s under it calls it an influential imprint known as Wildstorm. I don't know how influential it was, but run by artist and now head of DC Publishing, Jim Lee. One of the things of the DCU is it's not just a story of heroes and villains. Not every film and TV show is going to be a good guy versus bad guy. Giant things from the sky come and good guy wins. There are white hats, black hats, gray hats. They are kind of like Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men. They know what you want them. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. All right. Paradise Lost. The duo described this HBO Max series as Game of Thrones style drama set on the all-female island that is Wonder Woman's birthplace. Filled with political intrigue and scheming between power players. It takes place before the events of the Wonder Woman films. The Brave and the Bold. This is the introduction of the DCU Batman, says Gunn, of Bruce Wayne, and also introduces our favorite Robin, Damian Wayne, who is a little son of a bitch. That's his quote directly. The movie will take inspiration from the now classic Batman run written by Grant Morrison that introduced Batman to a son he never knew existed, a murderous tween raised by assassins. It's a very strange father and son story. And importantly, it will feature a Batman not played by Robert Pattinson, because there is also the Batman sequel. Pattinson will continue to portray the Dark Knight in at least one more crime saga movie directed by Matt Reeves. That movie, the executives revealed, will be released October 3rd, 2025, and is being called The Batman Part 2. A very literal title. 2025 is going to be a big year for DC. Superman and Batman within the same year.
Oh, okay.
Booster Gold.
Yeah. Booster Gold. I used to read Warrior, which is kind of the sequel to Booster Gold. I think so. I kind of know that one a little bit.
Yeah,
but not much. But
Booster Gold is an HBO Max series based on a unique, lesser-known hero created in 1986. It's about a loser from the future who uses basic future technology to come back to today and pretend to be a superhero. Gunn described it as imposter syndrome as superhero. Last two on the list, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, taking its cues from the recent Tom King written miniseries. This movie promises a different take than what most think of when Superman's cousin comes to mind. We will see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, raised in a rock, a chip. What's that?
Who wasn't.
Right. Well, no. Wait. So wait. Supergirl, raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, and who watched everyone around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then come to Earth.
Like I said, who wasn't?
Wow.
One was nurtured, and the other one came up through hell. You know? So needless to say, she's going to be incorrigible and superpowered. So that's probably going to be a bad news.
She's not going to be very happy.
No.
I feel nurture versus nature here didn't do her a favor. Finally, Swamp Thing, a horror film that promises to close out the first part of the first chapter of DC films. So
it's only going to work if they have the Creedence Clearwater Revival song at the beginning of it.
That's very well. James Gunn, being the music guy that he is, I got to imagine would be doing that. So for sure.
The second Swamp Thing movie is the first time I ever heard "Born on the Bayou," and I became like a crazy. That actually introduced me to 70s rock music.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, they put me on the path to becoming a musician.
Look at
So
you.
there you go. You know? So I'm sure they won't, though. I'm sure it'll be some algorithmic click tracking from the AI universe.
No, James Gunn is pretty good with. He's pretty good at pairing up music and movies, right?
He's very good with the music. He does good with the music. So
all right, what do you guys think?
So, yeah.
I mean, personally, I am just a casual observer. I was always a Marvel guy more than a DC guy. I would pick up the occasional DC book. You know, Robin by Chuck Dixon was a personal favorite of mine, but for the most part, you know, let sleeping dogs lie. I'd pick up a Batman book when it was warranted, but I wouldn't necessarily be collecting these things on a regular basis. So I just sit back and, you know, whatever comes out, I hope they're good. But if it's not, I don't lose sleep over it. I mean, I don't lose sleep over a lot of different things now, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Aaron kind of said it. You said it. I am a proud, I don't know why, I'm a proud New York Jets fan. And we have terrible ownership. We have owners that succumb to outside noise a lot. You know, there was one time we were going to hire a coach, and then a Daily News writer actually wrote, and he had to really dig for this, but he found some dirt on the guy, and it wasn't even dirt. It was like someone from like when he coached, he was an assistant coach in college, like 10 years earlier, was like, yeah, that guy was he was a jerk, mind you. Totally successful coach in the NFL. We were all very excited to have him, but because of this one article, the owner decided, no, we're not going to hire this guy. We're going to hire a different guy. And then we proceeded to be terrible for another 5-6 years and continue to be terrible. Why do I bring this up? Ownership matters. We're going to find out if DC, under new ownership, is going to go the Woody Johnson route and succumb to, you know, social media noise, outside noise. Is going to let James Gunn actually do this, even if it goes down in flames. Let's say it does. I will applaud DC for just, you know, having a plan finally, or at least looking like they have a plan and sticking with it. James Gunn has a solid track record of being a very competent storyteller to even being a great storyteller, depending on, you know, the different films that he's in. So let's hope that he gets the leash is long, right? That's my hope.
Yeah, I mean, look, all the best. You know, all the best. Actually, I mean, it sounds very condescending and dismissive, but I mean, yeah, all my best to you until you show me something that makes me a devotee. Yeah. You know, I don't hope you fail. I do not hope that he fails. I do not hope they blow it. I just wish the horse trading aspect of it was a little less prominent.
Yeah.
And the actual material was more prominent. But it seems to be the opposite these days. Like all the horse trading comes, and that becomes the main event. And then the movie comes out, or the movie's held hostage.
Right.
Like, you know, like the Flash movie. Oh, everybody says it's a great movie. You know, I've been hearing about the good or bad of this movie. You know, and a lot of people made money. A lot of people are making their bones, their social media bones, on the speculative fancy of whether or not this movie should exist or not. And I just want to see the movie. I'm a material guy. I just want the product. You know, I want to wait. The Christmas is great because of bells and whistles, but it's mostly the presents. I just want the presents, you know?
Right.
I don't want to hear about the Christmas spirit and see your tinsel all over the place or whatever, and then wake up Christmas morning under my tree.
Right. I agree.
So,
I agree.
You know, that's all.
I think that's a pretty fair a fair way to look at this, and well, time will tell, right? I mean, we won't know until we know. So
absolutely. And you know what? I'm not even saying I'm not even being against, you know, wondering about it or thinking about it. I'm just saying, if someone asked me directly, I'd be like, yeah, you know, whatever. Like until I do something, I just don't know what to tell you. Well, but I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it will be.
Let me ask you a question. Did you love Peacemaker as much as I did, or no?
I liked it a lot. I didn't, you know, I mean, look, I saw every episode of it. I waited every week for it to drop, and then I watched it the moment it dropped. So, I mean, that should, you know, it's like if someone asked me, if you were to ask me, am I a Pearl Jam fan? I'd be like, I don't know. But I have every one of their albums. So obviously I am. You know,
Got
you
it.
have to go out of your way to own every album from a band. You don't just happen to do that. And so
Correct.
and these days, especially with social media being the way it is, you kind of gotta have to go out of your way to be the first to see something. You know, you have to make an effort to do it. And I did that for Peacemaker. So I'm very happy with it. I very much enjoyed it. You know, it is a lot of what I thought it would be, but that doesn't make it bad. You know, that makes it wonderful.
What do you guys think?
So, I mean, more of that then.
What do you guys think? Are you excited? Are you, you know, as a DC fans out there, is this, are you nervous? Are you excited? Put all your comments in the comment field. We will respond to them throughout the week. And, you know, in general, we'll just continue to respond to, because I think this is going to be something where James Gunn likes to put stuff out on social media. And so this is not a, boy, we haven't heard from you in a few months kind of deal. He seems to be consistently communicating with the fan base.
Let me add one last thing. Okay. I do think if anyone can fix the ship, it's probably going to be James Gunn.
Why do you think?
I think he's got the goodwill from the fans, and he's got the track record of actual material done. He's got the bona fides to actually get it done. So I think he's in a good position to do some, you know, to turn everything around.
All right.
You know, he's like the Jon Favreau of the DC universe.
We're gonna find out when we come back. YA author Mitali Perkins talks about her new adaptation for Rickshaw Girl. Very, very good. And again, if you're into writing, it's a must listen to this interview. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. Thrilled to welcome acclaimed YA author Mitali Perkins, talking about her brand new feature film adaptation, Rickshaw Girl. Mitali, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for joining us. Talk to us first. I mean, you have been I mean, your biography is extensive. You've been writing for many years. Give everyone just a quick bio on how many books you've written, you know, your profile, and let everyone kind of know, you know, the extensive library that you have behind you.
Well, that's the nicest way I've ever heard anyone say. You're old, honey. your library is extensive.
I'm actually use that outside of this interview. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been writing forever. I think I'd started doing it for fun as a hobby on the side. And my first book was published a long time ago. It won a contest, and I thought, oh, this will be a great hobby. I could do a little bit of like side hustle here. And then my second novel was rejected by 23 different publishers, revised significantly, and eventually found a publishing home and was released 12 years after my first novel. Wow. Which means, looking back, I think, I don't know how I did that, just kept going. But when that second novel came out, I thought, you know, I'm going to put my stake in the ground. If I cared about this much, I think I'm going to try to be all in. So I quit all my side gigs and said, I'm going to be a writer. And my 20th novel is coming out this year. So I'm glad I didn't give up. Yes, I have an extensive time. Right. And good hair dye too.
Well, that's part about being a writer, right? I mean, Hassan and I are both. Hassan's a writer in both novels and graphic novels. I focus more on graphic novels and screenplays. It's not, you know, it's fun, but it can also be very, very stressful.
Also, however many novels you have doesn't correlate how many years you've been at it. So you could be a very fast writer. So.
Right, we're all child prodigies of our first.
Yes, yeah. We've been doing it since we were 12.
Yes,
right.
See, I have been writing since I was 9. I have poems and stories and little things I wrote in little diaries. And in fact, the novel that's coming out this year, I got to put the stories and poems that I wrote when I was 9, 10, 11 into this new novel. So because she's a writer, the child is awesome. A writer. So yeah, so I have been writing since I am a child prodigy.
Take me back. You said something that I thought was really super fascinating, which is that you got a rejection letter on your second book. Take me through the feeling of getting that. What went through your head, and how did you use that as inspiration to keep going?
Yeah, I think it was a rejection letter with suggestions for revision. So there was enough to keep the creative spark going. When I talk about 23 rejections, I'm talking about rejections that came with editorial letters
Okay.
that were actually suggestions. So there were people who were invested in the story, but it just wasn't quite there for them. I'm not sure why. Looking back, the markets were kind of closed back then to stories from outside the mainstream. My stories are all features marginalized characters. They have justice themes, and back then, that wasn't quite the hot topic it is now. So, so I'm not sure. I mean, I could have just said, "Oh, well, the doors are closed. It's not for me."
Yeah.
But I really did care about the work. I cared about the story. I cared about my character, and it was fun. I found a lot of joy still in revising. I still do. I'm terrible at first drafts. I don't know about you guys, but they're just the worst. They're just like the pits. You get through them and you think, finally, now I can get to work because, I have that narrative arc. I have the, when
all the pieces.
Yeah, all the pieces, all the scenes are sort of there, and I can do it now. I can get to work now. So
like a film editor.
Right. So revising is good. I like it. The first drafting, not so good. So I think that was more of the joy of the book itself that kept me going. I really liked it. I still like it. It's nobody reads it anymore, but I still like that book.
I laugh actually. You say that because I was talking to another writer friend of mine, and I actually have the opposite reaction sometimes to my first draft. I feel like this is the greatest thing ever, but meanwhile, I also know that it's only going to get better, having more, creative input from other people. However, like editors and things like that. But I really do. I write things and go, this is great, and then I always get like the first reaction back, and they're like, they send notes. It's always like they don't know what they're talking about. And then like after that initial reaction goes, I'm like, all right, they're right.
Oh, see, I need a little bit of your ego there, Michael. I always feel like this sucks. This is the worst thing ever. No one's ever going to read it. So I guess we reverberate back and forth as creatives, right? Between that, wow, this book is wonderful, to no way, nobody receiving this work will resonate with it. And then somewhere we have to find that calibration to just keep writing, to keep going.
Yeah.
And changing and being humble enough to change every word, right?
So now, you managed to, in the course of your writing career, and it's great. You said you went all in theoretically, after the 12-year gap.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because what you've also managed to do is have a blog that has like 1.2 million views. You have 520,000 visitors, worldwide on your social media monthly. How did you build up your following? Was it through the help of your publisher, or was it on your own? Like, a lot of young writers really want to know this question because they're trying to get their stuff out there. How did you approach this?
I have a lot of first cousins. I'm from a big Indian family, and all my cousins got to work. They're my publicity team. No, actually, I would say that whole question of platform, I know it's hard now to break in without that platform. And I think it's all about voice, really. I do feel like people will always try to trope you, and I use that as a verb, even though it's a noun. They'll try to put you in a box that fits in their perspective. And what you can do on social media now, if you love words the way I do, is that you can sort of explode the tropes and you can showcase your voice. I mean, before this conversation, I'm sure you guys probably thought, who the heck is this person? What's she gonna be like? But I can be hopefully funny, and I can be on social media. I can be offer fresh things with my voice that people don't expect. They think, oh, multicultural writer from India. It's important. She's got important work. But if I make a joke or say something that resonates with them through a different lens, that will open up my connection to them. And so I found social media a really great way to connect with all kinds of people. I've been doing it a lot. I like that too. I have fun I use Twitter, even though Twitter now is such a different place. I use Twitter as a word craft exercise. I don't use any emojis or abbreviations. I just use words, verbs, and nouns, and I try to say what I want to say in my voice. It's a very disciplined structure because you only have that many characters. And I've always used Twitter like that. So I'm a creator on social media, as I am in my life, creative. I try to be, not just a consumer, although I have to admit that since Reels came out and all that TikTok stuff, it has been much harder to avoid that, because there's so much creativity on TikTok, and you can just see these young, fresh minds coming out with creativity in that small container that a TikTok video provides, and this huge burst of creativity. It's fascinating, mesmerizing. So that is something I'm enjoying as a recipient of social media. But on the whole, I just like to create and have fun out there.
I think about that too. I mean, imagine, Hassan and I are both of generation 2 where we had a rotary phone and an iPhone, and we knew how to use both really well. And it's amazing to me to think, like, if I was in my teenage years, how I would use, the idea of actually making a movie, right? I remember we made like a class film, and that was like, it was crappy, and we had our little, the camera that stood on your shoulders, things like that. Now you have full movie making capability in your palm of your hand right now.
I know. I just got my iPhone 14, and I'm like totally amazed at how I can, the movie making capacity of this machine. It's incredible. Yeah. And which makes it really I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah.
I said that makes it really fun because a film like Rickshaw Girl, which, was made fully in Bangladesh, does not have a huge Hollywood budget, but was made by very talented artists who reside fully in Bangladesh. The screenplay, the cinematography, the directing, the acting, and it is an age where that whole filmmaking genre has become very democratic, in that anyone, anywhere can, especially with streaming, because Rickshaw Girl is now available on streaming, you can make your art available in a way with film for people to connect with you all over the world without having to go through that narrow, strict, expensive Hollywood conduit that used to keep everyone out except for people with connections and nepotism. Sure. And now, now people like Navera Rahman, who stars in Rickshaw Girl and did an amazing job acting this fierce character who really wants to help her family. You cheer for her through the whole movie. I can be proud of the movie because I had no creative input into the movie at all. So I'm just so proud of what they came up with as a story on screen, all the way in Bangladesh, against the odds of monsoon rains and all that overpopulation density with people making noise all the time. They created a whole set. They used and it's a beautiful film, and it's now being seen all over the world. So that's what these machines have helped us, and this generation of tech savvy creators have helped really flatten that access or widen the access to stories, which is great. I'm all for that.
Yeah, so talk to us about Rickshaw Girl. It was a great segue. We're a big fan of segues on this show, so it's an amazing segue. It's on demand.
That's my middle name. I've been doing all these interviews, so I'm like Miss Mitali Segue Perkins.
Love it, though. Absolutely love it. What was the feeling? How did this materialize first? Take us back to how the adaptation process began, the option process, all the way up to the point where you just said, like, you're a fan watching a movie based on something you created.
Yeah. Well, this book, Rickshaw Girl, was also rejected many, many times. And my second book had come out, and I got to go to a library convention to sign. I don't know if either of you have done these signings where you show up with all these authors. Well, I was assigned a table.
Conventions, comic book conventions, yes.
Yeah, book conventions, comic book conventions, right? So they have similar library conventions where people come up to get your autograph. I was sitting between these really like cool millennial authors, both guys, both kind of, had that handsome vibe that librarians love. And there were these long lines for each of them. And at my table, which was in between theirs, there was nobody, not a single person. So I had my second book, and I thought it was a mortifying moment. But I think until you've survived several of those mortifying moments, I don't think you really earn your stripes as a career writer. Because what happened is I had a choice then. I could say, this is terrible. Yeah. I'm like full of shame. I want to get out of here. Or I had another choice, which I chose, is I pulled my manuscript out. It was a hard copy. And I just said, I'm going to work on it. And it was Rickshaw Girl. So I just started working on Rickshaw Girl. And then I looked up after a while, and there was a woman standing in front of me, and I don't know, she just appeared, and she said, hey, I read Monsoon Summer and I liked it. What are you working on right there? And I told her it's about a story of a girl set in Bangladesh. She wants to help her family. Girls can't work outside of the home and make money. She's desperate to try to help. She's an artist, and she loves how is her art going to help her family economically? And so the woman's face lit up and she said, oh, okay, well, I work at Charles Bridge Publishing. That sounds great. Send it to me. It was a small publishing house in Boston. And I sent it to her and it got published. But it didn't sell. It just didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't sell. So, I have a little rickshaw here, if you could see it. And I just think of this novel, the story pedaling along because it got translated into several Asian languages. And I think because it's a story of honor and duty, it's successful in Japan, successful in China, successful in Taiwan, successful in Korea, and then eventually came back here years and years later and became a stage play. My mom and I go to the theater, and in one part of the story that she crashes her dad's rickshaw. My mom and I are in the theater, and this happens on the stage, and we both gasp and we say, "Oh, what's going to happen now?" And then my mom looks at me and says, "You wrote the book. You wrote the book." I forgot that I wrote the story. And then I'm at a writers' conference that I teach at every year in Big Sur, California, which close to where I live, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And I go there every year. It's my literary agency hosts this conference. And another faculty member came up to me and said, my wife loved this story. We love the film industry in Bangladesh. I'd really like to try to make it into a movie. We have zero money. We don't know if we can raise the money. Can you sign the option just complimentarily or like $1? And I said, oh, sure. Yeah, there was no way this book was going to be made into a movie. No way. A book fully set in Bangladesh with no American characters, no bridge characters, nothing. A children's story. There was just no way it was going to be turned into a movie.
Sure.
So Eric and Kathleen Adams went over to Bangladesh, found a brilliant director, Amitav Reza Chaudhry. They found incredible cinematographers, artists, actors, and they managed to raise the money to make this movie. And now it is streaming on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. And I am like, and I got to go to the premiere. My husband hired a limo.
That's great.
It was like a small film festival. And I thought, what are you hiring a limo for? Let's just go in our car. So
like, no, you got to do it right. You have the right idea. You have for your husband.
Get your stiletto heels on, honey. This is the moment. And red lipstick, stiletto heels, and I was like, there's not going to be any. So I got out of the limo, and there were all this media there because Bangladeshis showed up. They were so proud of this movie. This was the first movie that had been exported. India has a lot of movies, but not Bangladesh. And they were like snapping pictures and doing interviews. And I thought, well, this is a moment. It was a moment. I mean, it's a moment in a career that is usually just get to the computer and push through the next reaction.
Right.
So it was worth stiletto heels for sure.
What role? You mentioned literary agency and a publisher. How many different publishers have you had, and how many different agents? And for young writers out there, how important is it to land either one of these in the current situation that we have today, in your opinion? And the current situation being Amazon, you could just self-publish. You can put your stuff on TikTok and social media and Instagram. So I'm curious.
So
I'm curious your thoughts.
Traditional publishing versus self-publishing.
Yeah.
I think that it depends on your entrepreneurial spirit, your ability to take risk, your ability to invest in yourself. I'm pretty traditional person. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that model really worked well because I have this literary agency goes to bat for me. I'm from an immigrant family. So first of all, I'm cheap. And second of all, I don't really push. Like if somebody said to me, we came here to New York City when I was 7 years old and I outgrew shoes and my mom would cut slits in the front of the shoes so I could wear them we're not from this big publishing connected family. We're like fresh off the boat. And so when I first started negotiating, someone said, hey, we want to buy this book. I was like, really? Oh, I was a terrible negotiator. I can negotiate for bananas in a market. When it came to American people wanting to buy my book, I thought, I'll pay you. Oh gosh. So it depends on, I think if you have excuse the language, but cojones to fight for yourself, to invest in yourself, to sort of hold yourself up high, your head up high and say, I'm a writer, and you have connections and you have the wherewithal to have the platform. You got to weigh that all into your own decision, because a literary agent will go to bat for you. And I've had her for 20 some years. She's
That's fantastic.
my only agent from start to finish, and we've been a team. We grew up together in the industry, and and I have a booking agent for my speaking gigs. So yeah, I feel like and that's why I'm a full-time, I can do this full-time, and because they help me earn the money I need. So I need a team. But if you're a more entrepreneurial risk taker who has time ahead, money and energy, and have that sort of like as my yoga teacher says, shoulders down, crown up, kind of feel about yourself, I think self-publishing is a great way to go, as I said, or taking some risks, trying both. Because it's a really time when stories can reach audiences and you don't have to go through the people with the power as much.
Gatekeepers. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have 2 new books coming out this year, Hope in the Valley and Holy Night and Little Star. Would you like to tell everyone about that?
Yeah, well, I write for kids, which makes me, powerful, because stories for kids really shape the future and the hearts and minds of future leaders. So I love writing for kids. I've written for adults as well, but adults are overrated. Boo. Much rather spend time with kids. So Hope in the Valley is a middle grade novel. And as I said, I write a lot about justice themes. So this one explores affordable housing in California. Yay, Mitali, write about bunny rabbits, the direct kids, but no, I want to write about microcredit in Bangladesh and girl power. I want to write about affordable housing and the lack of that we have in California. And I want to write about a girl who is 12 years old and loves writing poetry and doesn't want to grow up, because that was me. Growing up was so scary as a woman, as a young woman, as a third daughter in a culture of origin that didn't value women. And also in this culture, it just felt like, this hypersexualized culture we live in. I just thought, I want to stay a kid. I do not want to grow up. And so this little girl's got that same issue. That it's all about change and how the past, how we handle the present, if we integrate the past, can really shape the future. Same with housing, same with this little girl's life. So that's coming out, Hope in the Valley, in July from Macmillan. I'm excited about that because I like to be personal in my writing. I like to be political in my writing. And I think kids go there with me, which is always a surprise to adults. And then A Holy Night and Little Star is a Christmas story about, with a little brown baby Jesus in it. So about a little star who, it's a picture book, because the Christmas story, I always felt like an outsider to it, but no longer. Now I feel very much at home in it, and I wanted to bring my own voice to the retelling of it, the Christmas story.
Okay, very last question, very important. Will you be able to watch the Super Bowl now that your beloved Niners have been knocked out?
Oh, why are you bringing?
I'm a Jets fan. We wallow in misery.
Oh no, we're all heartbroken. Do you get that? Heartbroken. That was a terrible game, terrible to watch. But yeah, I'm excited about. Actually, someone just posted. I'm excited to watch the Rihanna concert with the Eagles and the Chiefs sideline.
The pre and post concert show, which is the
football. The commercials. I mean, I don't like watching with people because each of the commercials is master storytelling. I love leaning into that great creativity of Super Bowl commercials. I am a big fan of them, and I love seeing which ones really succeed as a story. So I'm looking forward to it on Sunday. Yeah. So yeah, sorry. So we're all grieving here in the dark.
I have a good friend who is a big 49ers fan, and I was pulling for them over the Eagles, and I just said, boy, what a, the luck with the quarterbacks, I think just as bad as the Jets. Just as bad as the Jets.
We won't talk about the refs that day, because I think if you mention the refs that day, everyone around here gets all agitated. So we won't talk about that. And then Tom Brady's retiring finally.
That's right.
I think, yeah. I lived in Boston for 13 years, so I still have that an eye on Tom Brady from the West Coast, but we'll see.
He's retiring, but don't be surprised if he pops up. He was a 49ers fan as a kid. So
I think if he retires, he and Giselle get back together. I'm rooting for that.
I am too. All right, Mitali, tell everyone where they can find you online, and tell everyone about Rickshaw Girl, where they can view that.
Yeah, rickshawgirlmovie.com has all the information on streaming, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and if you're a library fan like me, Canopy and Hoopla also have the story. I think Voodoo has it too. And then me, I'm the only Mitali Perkins in the world. That combination of names does not exist. So just Google me, misspell the Mitali part, misspell the Perkins part, and I'll pop
You'll
up.
still get it.
You'll still get it. I'm all over Twitter. I like Twitter. I like Instagram. I like Facebook. I lurk on TikTok, so you can't find me there. I don't generate anything. But but come and find me and let me know what you think about the movie. Read the book, see what's different. I love to talk about it, and I always answer messages and comments from people online. So come and find me.
Mitali, thank you so much. Mitali Perkins, go check out Rickshaw Girl and check out her new books as well. When we come back, more Rogue Wave podcast.
Thanks so much.
Welcome back to the Rogue Wave podcast. Wanted to thank Mitali Perkins for dropping by. Go check out, Rickshaw Girl. It's on all the streaming platforms. Go check out her Twitter feed. It's pretty hilarious. And check out her website as well, too, MitaliPerkins.com. She is the only Mitali Perkins out there, as she said in her interview. But that was very delightful. Couple of things. It's very exciting. This is our last episode of the season. We're going to go on a little bit of a break while we ramp up the new Rogue Wave and the new RogueMatter.com. So, find us on social media. You can always find me at Sire_Studios on Twitter or at Sire Studios on Instagram. I'll be the first to admit Instagram is not my social media of choice. Twitter, you're much better to get me if you go on Twitter, I think. We got some good stuff, though. New Sire Origins. Ooh, it's going to be solicited. It's going to be it's going to capture the first 3 issues of the Sire and back in comic book stores. So go check that out. Plan 59 from Outer Space. Number 1. Number 2 actually is also you can order number 2 right now. It's a 3-issue series. That's going to be in stores. So I got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. I'm very excited. Hassan's got some announcements too. He's going to be coming out with I'm sure. I'm not gonna drop your ball for you. So you're gonna. But
yeah, I'll make announcements soon enough.
You'll take to the social media at HS Godwin on Twitter. And then where else can they find you?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I'm at Hassan Godwin in Facebook, but and I don't Instagram. I have an Instagram, but I don't Instagram. I don't use it.
You should Instagram. I don't know why you don't.
I don't want to Instagram. I refuse to Instagram.
It's too
instantaneous.
It's very instant. Is that what it is?
It's too instant. You can't take it back. I was like, it's instant.
When did you have a kid?
When
did you have a kid? Because that was a dad joke. That was a dad joke you just did there.
Wow. All right. Yeah. And what do you think that was just now?
Oh, but I'm a dad. It's okay. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right.
Do you know what's just shifting topics for 2 seconds? Do you know what's really nice about this little hiatus we're going on? I'm going to get LASIK surgery in the next couple weeks. Very exciting. I have terrible vision, horrible vision. I wear contact lenses. But
So do
I would have starting Tuesday though of next week. So February 6th is my last day ever wearing contact lenses. I have to go 3 weeks without wearing them. And then on the 28th, I'm going to have LASIK surgery. It's going to be very exciting. I'll be able to see when I wake up in the morning. I haven't been able to do that since I was 5 years old. That's going to be pretty, or if I sleep with my contacts in, which then if you've ever done that, if anyone has ever done that, it's the worst feeling in the world, because then you wake up and your eyes are just like dry as anything. And then you go, oh man, then you try to get them out and not going to worry about that. Hopefully I'm not blind when I see you guys next.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything.
She's a very good doctor. Dr. Pack. Very good doctor. Look her up. Very good. So it's my exciting news.
Yes. That's good news. Good luck.
We will continue to communicate via social media. We will see you guys in the coming weeks. And trust me, you will see announcements and whatnot. This has been season 2 of the Rogue Wave podcast. We will see you guys very soon. Hi guys, Mike Dolce here from the Rogue Wave podcast. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It really helps us out. Leave a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future episodes, and tune in every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern for a brand new episode of the Rogue Wave podcast.